All right, what's going on, my friends? Misha Wilson here, and welcome to another episode of Behind the Scenes with an Internet Millionaire. Now, if this is your first video, this is our video series where you get to watch myself, an Internet Millionaire, essentially build a brand new brand from scratch. All right, so I recently went ahead and purchased a company that has little to no momentum or traction currently after essentially getting stopped from COVID, and I'm going to take it, I'm going to grow it into $1 million brand. That's, of course, the business, and you get to watch everything step by step. You get to see the good, you get to see the bad, you get to see the ugly, and literally everything in between. Now, as always, if you get value, let me know what your biggest takeaway is in the comments section below. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and that bell icon notification button, and let's go ahead and dive right in. So, in today's video, guys, I'm going to go ahead and walk you through their sales process when it comes to their ads and the page they're pointing to, with their actual ads, and walk you through what I see, what I like, what I don't like. And not necessarily the solutions and the adjustments that we're going to make quite yet, because I'm still dialing that in. But I want to go ahead and walk you through kind of what I see, what I like, what I dislike, why I think it's working, why I think it might, have area to be improved, and kind of take you through that thought process. So firstly, let's go ahead and start over here actually. So these are their ads, and as you can see, all fairly basic image ads. And as you can see, they have top fat burner, fat burner, fat burner, fat burner. So they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 ads for the fat burner, one for the testosterone booster, which is strange because we actually built the funnel out for the testosterone booster first, being told that this was their highest selling product. So I'm going to have to circle back on that with them. But that said, again, this is their overall flow. And I'm going to dissect this because this is the one that we built the funnel out for. If you missed that, go back and check it out in our previous episodes. But so yes, they have an image ad. The image ad then points to this page over here, which is a blog/advertorial page. All right, so best boosters that actually work for muscle growth. Now, the first thing that I'll say is, why would they be pointing to this page, this type of ad, etc.? What's it called? So this is essentially something that is kind of what you call native advertising. All right, and it's essentially advertising that is built to be kind of designed to not necessarily look like advertising, to appear like something that is not advertising. If done correctly, it won't fully be advertising, which they are, or I should say, if done compliantly. If done non-compliantly, you can literally create a page that looks like, a news site, Fox News, CNN, whatever it might be. Create a site that looks like a, let's say Fox News, and you could target a very conservative base. You could point an ad to your site that looks just like Fox News. The minute they land on that site, they're going to naturally inherently have trust with that brand, right? You could do the other end with a liberal audience, etc. And again, kind of, not so cool, but also converts very well, right? So that's kind of the non-cool way to do it. Now, the cool way to do native advertising is essentially what they're doing here, right? Their ad is not necessarily promising a specific solution. It's not necessarily talking about a product. It's not talking about a problem, etc. It's just saying, hey, check out the top 3 or the top testosterone booster, top 3 testosterone boosters that actually work in 2023. And then it's pointing to an article. The article is going ahead and outlining the best testosterone boosters. So this is, again, the part of the ad that doesn't look like the ad, but is indeed the ad. And then from there, down here, you'll see it points out to the actual solution, TestoFears, right? Now, one thing I want you guys to remember with your advertising is look at the entire system and look at how much a certain element of the system, like how much weight a certain element is pulling, right? So as an example, with this is literally just an image ad that says the top 3 testosterone boosters in 2023. So let's say we create an image ad that said this is the top testosterone booster in 2023, and then just instead of top 3, just top testosterone booster, and then this is all it was, right? It was just the freaking image of the guy and the girl, and they point directly to the actual product, right? That might work, right? Chances are it probably would not work that well. And the reason why is because in that scenario, the ad is not doing any of the pre-selling, right? It's just saying this is the top testosterone booster. It's not talking about firstly, why you need to boost testosterone. It's not talking about the pains of not having testosterone. Are you sick and tired of having low energy, low libido, not being able to build muscle, not being able to, fill in the blank, XYZ, all the different pains and then the desires, right? Want to be able to add more lean muscle faster, want to be able to lean out faster, want to have a high sex drive and make your, woman the happiest woman on planet Earth, so on and so forth, right? So if we were pointing, which is probably something we'll test, but if we were pointing directly to the product, what we then have to have happen is we have to have the actual ad itself do more or most of that pre-framing and most of that heavy lifting that in this circumstance, the actual advertorial or the blog site is essentially doing. All right. So again, just understand that, if you take this ad, this format of ad, and point to a totally different style of page, while the format of ad might work for this kind of page, it probably won't work for the next kind of page. You have to look at, what the ultimate end goal is, them buying the product, then look at the path that the consumer goes down, the prospect goes down, then look at, which different elements, the ads, the advertorial, or the lander, or just directly to the sales page, what's doing what when it comes to pulling weight, and how can you essentially make up for, if you were to take out the advertorial, how could you have the ad do more of the actual lifting because the advertorial is gone? All right, now that's kind of a side tangent lesson here, but again, just wanted to point that out when it comes to the ads. Don't expect to run this type of ad directly to a sales page and have it do really well. The reason this is working for them is because they're pointing this kind of very simple ad that is just kind of curiosity based. Hey, check out the top 3 testosterone boosters. Hey, what are those? I want to learn what they are. I want to see how they might be able to help me. Then from here, this is doing much of, again, the pre-selling. All right, so I don't want to read every single word here, but as you can see, building muscle and burning fat is hard. You have to work out 5 to 7 days per week, eat 7 meals per day, so immediately kind of identifying with the pain, right? Eat broccoli and chicken all day, sleep 8 to 12 hours every day. It's freaking impossible. It's super frustrating, and it's really hard, right? You'd have to be a pro athlete with $1 million sponsorship to be able to have the time and money to do all of that. So immediately identifying with the pains, right? So if I were to run, as an example, directly to a sales page, you'd probably want more of this in the actual ad itself, right? So you'd want to identify with the pain, relate with the pain, talk about why it's so hard to get the result that they want, then introduce a solution in the actual ad. So the ad would do more of the lifting that right now the advertorial is doing. Now, from here, you can see, in a rush, they're essentially giving a direct path very quickly, and they're also giving a review of the product. Now, reviews can work well because, again, it essentially removes the step of, if you look at the average consumer, they might come to a product, look at the page, and then think about, all right, let me go on Google and search reviews of testo fears. So what they're doing here is they're essentially removing that element or that, step in the process and taking them to a review that is a good, solid review, but also definitely is a review that does the selling for them. All right, so it's a review that is going to be a positive pre-frame instead of a negative pre-frame. If you've never been to one of our workshops or virtual workshops, etc., the power of a pre-frame is one of the most powerful things in marketing. And essentially a pre-frame, think of it as the thing that comes first, all right? The thing that comes before the actual sales message. So I always use the example of if I get up on stage, right? If I have a good MC and the MC says, all right, this is Misha Wilson. He's done, $35 million in sales. Not only has he done sales, he's, helped countless people hit the $10,000 per month mark, and he's going to be showing you the best, fastest, and easiest way to launch your business from scratch. He's a great guy. He really cares about his people, and he's going to help you to create success. If that's the pre-frame, and then I get up on the stage, everything I say after that, of course, I have to deliver, but it's going to be 10 times easier, right? I can have a slightly less polished presentation, and because someone who the audience has trust with built me up, my presentation doesn't need to be as good, but I'll probably sell more, right? Where if the audience has trust with the MC and, leading up to my presentation, the audience or the MC gets up and he says, all right, this is Misha Wilson. He really kind of talks a lot about himself. He's not that cool of a guy. His, marketing tactics, super outdated, don't really work anymore. And the truth is, he hasn't helped anybody achieve anything worthwhile. He's stole a bunch of money from a bunch of different people. Give it up for Misha Wilson. If that's the pre-frame, and I get up on stage, no matter what the hell I might say after that pre-frame, my freaking presentation can be literally perfect. Every single word can come out perfectly in the delivery, and I'm still not going to sell a single damn unit. All right, so that's a pre-frame and the power of a pre-frame. So what they're doing here is they're pre-framing the buying decision, which they can make when they click here and they come over to the actual offer. They're pre-framing it with, again, a positive review. All right, we got this thing. We have increased results in the gym. You'll put on more muscle, increased libido, stronger sex drive, boosted confidence and mood, faster metabolism, you can burn fat. These are all of the things that you'll experience when you buy this product after, reviewing it and after doing the review for you. So they've essentially taken the review portion out of the path that the customer would essentially take, right? So they usually go off to Google and look at it for themselves. They also compare it to the competition, which I do like. The only thing I'm hesitant with this overall process, actually, I'll get into that in a minute. I'll circle back. So this is just a review of the product, a positive review of the product, positive pre-frame, also month 1, month 2, month 3. So they're, talking about squats were up 40 pounds when I started. So results, room for improvement. You got to take 7 pills a day. So that could definitely be something that we look at in the future. But again, so, essentially it's a review with a positive review that comes before the buying decision. So a positive pre-frame. Now circling back to here. So that was essentially the ability for them to, if they're in a rush, click through to see the first, best pick and also read the review that they go ahead and offer. Now from there, best testosterone boosters. So here's what they're doing here. They're just essentially bringing them down the path of why a testosterone booster would work, who it's for, who it's not for, which I like. Do they actually work? How to spot a scam. All right, so this is talking about proprietary blends of products and how that's actually a bad thing. If it's a proprietary blend, you don't know what's in it. You don't know, essentially you don't have transparent ingredients. You don't know what you're actually taking, so it's probably not that good of a product. So this here, they're kind of trying to position their thing as different, right? So the difference that makes a difference is our thing is completely and totally transparent. And all the other proprietary blends are just actually fake blends that sounded good to be true, good ingredients, low potency, proprietary blends that are cheap and promising, lack evidence, caffeine from some fancy source, right? So essentially they're kind of mocking the competition here, which I think is pretty freaking funny. And they're positioning the boosters that they recommend as different from that. All right, so I like that. I like how they create a difference in their marketing. Remember, one of the key elements in marketing, different is always better than better. So that's what they're doing here. They're talking about why it's different. And then they're leading to, as you can see, all right, so here's all the different reasons why you need a testosterone booster. Here's, how you can spot a scam and find the best testosterone boosters. Here are the best testosterone boosters. We've done all the work for you in research. And that's where TestoFierce comes in. All right, so TestoFierce number 1, benefits of TestoFierce down here, price down here. Then from here, you can actually see that they have different options. So Testo Prime, Hunter Test, and looks like that's it. Then they have references, different information sources that they used in order to go ahead and write the article. So look, things I like about this is kind of leveraging native advertising, right? Native advertising does not necessarily need to be super hypey and kind of works very well because the person on the other end doesn't feel like it's advertising, even though it is advertising. The key to doing it the right way is to keep it transparent, keep it real, don't use fake news sites, etc. And don't be one of the slimy marketers, be one of the good guys, right? These guys are doing it in a cool way. Also, what I like is, I like this and I dislike it. So I'll tell you why I like it. I like this path where it's, hey, are you in a rush, shop now, or read the review? I like this path because they are giving the reader the ability to do what the reader might do anyway, or at least a percentage of the readers might do anyway, in saying, all right, I'm reading this advertorial, or I'm reading this thing, this news article about Testo Fierce. Let me go to Google. Let me Google Testo Fierce reviews. A percentage of your people are always going to do that anyway. So they're giving the reader the ability to get that information, but they're essentially controlling the pre-frame that the reader goes through. So they're not going to go to Google and read a negative review. They're going to stay on their site and they're going to read a positive review, right? So that's the reason I like it. The reason I don't like it, same reason I don't like some of the stuff down here at the bottom, is they're giving the reader two paths, all right? And one of the age-old lessons in marketing is a confused prospect is a prospect that does not buy. And we're not necessarily saying that this is going to confuse the prospect, but what it might very well do is just whenever you give your reader or your person on a webinar or your person watching a video or your person watching a sales video, right? Like if I have a webinar and I get to the end of the webinar, I get to the pitch and I say, all right, here's your 10 different options. You can buy option number 1, option number 2, option number 3, option number 4. That tends to hurt conversions, right? Where if you give one single path for the person to take, it's more likely that a larger percentage of people take the one path than, if you give 10 paths, options, analysis paralysis. Do I want this one? Do I want that one? God, this is a better deal. This is more expensive. This is more expensive, but it gets this, many more things. This one's cheaper. I don't have that much money, but it's not necessarily as good. It can create a whole dialogue that creates more friction to get the person to buy, right? Now, as an added lesson, the only time that I will have multiple options in a sales presentation, for those of you guys that have watched me for a long time, you've seen me do it. Maybe you've seen me do it from stage or you've seen me do it on a webinar, etc. Sometimes what I'll do is I will have option number 1, which is a really good offer, right? So it's a really good offer for, let's say, $1,000. And then I'll have option number 2, and option number 2 will be like $5,000. It'll be 5 times more expensive, but it won't be that much better. All right, this is kind of a slick marketing hack. You guys will know all my tricks after this series. But if we have option number 2 for $5,000 and maybe it only has one thing that's slightly better than option number 1, just having option number 2 at $5,000 and it's only slightly better makes option number 1 look much cheaper. All right, because it's only slightly better, it looks like kind of sort of the same thing, but it's 5 times as much. Holy crap, this isn't actually that much for $1,000, right? So that's a way you can price condition, and might be something that we do here. All right, so if I look at these, really the sole goal that I want from going ahead and purchasing the brand is to sell more of this stuff, right? So to sell more Testo Fierce. I'm not necessarily going to be an affiliate for Testo Prime, don't know what it is, can't vouch for the product. I only sell products that I believe in, that I know work. I know Testo Fierce works. Hunter Test, have no clue what it is, can't vouch for the product, don't know if it works, won't sell it as an affiliate. Also, this is giving different paths, like I mentioned, right? They come here, they say, all right, this one's the best, but God, it's $69. This one is $65, and it's almost just as good. I really want Testo Fierce, but should I save the $4, right? Now the price is close enough that if they really want Testo Fierce, they'll probably just buy it, but that conversation will start. So I don't necessarily like the fact that, again, there's multiple different options here that might confuse them, lead to analysis paralysis, and lead to them not making the single decision that I want them to make in buying Testo Fierce. So maybe, again, we'll have to look at some price conditioning hacks here. I'm kind of looking at this and thinking on possible solutions here at the same time. Like this, I kind of like, right? Because this is $90 a bottle. So in just having this, if it's option number 3 and it's $90 a bottle, what this is going to do is it's going to make Testo Fierce just naturally look like a better deal and cheaper, just because Testo Fierce is $69 and that's $90, right? So that's going to make it look like a better deal. Testo Prime might not do that. So I still need to kind of figure out solutions here. We might test an advertorial that is just, a case study style of advertorial that does the same thing. Why this is working, I think, for them, one of the lessons that I want to kind of, last lesson here for today, we've gone through a few. We've gone through pre-frames, right? The power of pre-frames. how this is working as a pre-frame. We've gone through kind of just the general paths, right? A buyer will always look at your product, then a percentage of people go to Google, search for your product. If you can kind of remove that step and give them that step in a controlled environment, controlling the pre-frame, that's going to be powerful. Also, when it comes to ads, right? Always look at, or when it comes to overall sales processes, always look at which portion of the sales process is essentially doing what, and if I remove something, how do I make up for what I remove with something else, right? So if we test, let's say, going directly to the sales page, we're going to have to figure out how we can kind of make up for the removal of this advertorial by probably having more of this content in the actual ad itself. So always remember that. And remember, a confused buyer is a buyer that doesn't buy. Last lesson that I want to leave you here is what's happening and what's working well for this, I think, is one of the natural rules of sales is if someone can feel, people love buying, right? That's what you got to remember. People love buying. People have been conditioned to consume. People have been conditioned to buy. And they love the feeling that they get when they buy something, right? In the information marketing world, I hate to say it, but oftentimes people will buy the product, then never even go through the damn thing. And it's because they love the feeling that, all right, I'm going to buy this product. And when they buy the product, it gives them the feeling like they're committed, like they're doing the actual thing, even though they haven't done the thing yet, right? So people love the feeling of buying. That's the thing to remember. People hate to feel like they're being sold, right? So in your marketing, what you have to do is you have to find ways to sell without making the prospect feel like you're selling them. And understand that people cannot resist what they cannot see coming and what they don't feel. So if you naturally are very salesy, people will always have a level of resistance. If you go immediately to the pitch, why this thing's so good, the benefits, the features, etc. Whenever you get to that part, naturally, there's going to be levels of resistance that rise, right? Where if you figure out how to market in a way where you're touching on the features, you're touching on the benefits, you're touching on the difference, right? The reason why your product is different. If you're touching on those things without raising resistance, naturally, there's going to be less skepticism, there's going to be less resistance, and you're going to be able to get more people to the point that they actually want to go to in making the correct buying decision, making the buying decision that they want to make without increasing resistance. All right, so always ask yourself, how can I get the prospect to the point where they see the features, they see the benefits, they see why they need this thing without them perceiving that they're being sold, so that resistance does not rise, I should say, so that again, it's easier to make the sale when we ultimately get them there. That's what I think this advertorial is doing fairly well. All right, if you look at the actual site, it does not look like a sales page. It does not look like something where they're just trying to sell you something. It looks like a blog, right? At the top, blog, burn fat, build muscle, supplements. Like these are all different paths that the prospect might take to go away from making the buying decision, which is not usually a good thing, right? But what this is doing well is this does not look like a sales page. It does not look like something that's designed to sell. And so naturally, because it does not look like something that is designed to sell, it's increasing the desire that the prospect has by, touching on the benefits, touching on all the pains that the prospect feels, creating relatability, identification, touching on just the pure benefits, features, all different things that this thing's actually touching on, the difference that makes the difference in how, proprietary blends aren't the way to go, this is the way to go, etc. It's doing all of that, but it's doing it in a very covert way where the prospect does not feel like they're being sold, and as a result is leading to sales of the actual product. So remember, figure out how you can make sales without increasing resistance by having the person get to a point where they're buying without feeling like they're being sold. So this is kind of, look, what I like, what I don't like. I like all of what I just mentioned. I don't necessarily like how they give multiple different paths, the review, certain things I like about it, certain things that I don't like about it. I don't necessarily love the other options. I do kind of like the idea of having something that price conditions here and makes that look a little bit cheaper. I also will probably want to test just going directly to the sales page at some point, but also going directly to an advertorial that is more a one-path advertorial, right? So this is the top 3 testosterone boosters. We could even change this and have this be the number 1 testosterone booster and point directly to something where it's this without the other options. Or use more of a case study advertorial, right? So a certain type of advertorial that works very well is, Bob started taking this product and everything changed. Learn Bob's or discover Bob's journey here, right? Now the copy there is horrible, just talking off the top of my head. But instead of having 3 different things, if we brought them to a case study page, which we'll probably build out and show you when we do, if we brought them to a case study page, the whole page would be a page kind of walking them through Bob's stories, Bob's journey, Bob's before, Bob's afters, photos of Bob. Bob's just an example, right? I actually do have a friend that we gave the product to who's working out like a madman, who is going to be our case study when we're ready. And he's pretty much ready already. So we'll definitely try that. But again, with that style of advertorial, it would be a one path, essentially just the case study. This is the product that allowed him to get this result. If you want it, grab it here. But only available for a limited time, that type of thing. So that's what I like. That's what I don't like. I'm going to think on exact solutions here. Haven't quite come to exactly what I want to do here yet. I love the covert selling. Love the fact they're not raising resistance. Don't love the fact that they are, pointing to multiple different places. If we can kind of figure out a combination of both, I think that's probably where we'll land. We will probably test this to begin with. All right. So we always want to test what's working and just start with what's working and not change too many things at once. But this is what I'm seeing. This is what I like. This is what I don't like. And I hope you got some value out of this video. If you did, please let me know in the comment section below what your biggest takeaway was. I hope I didn't ramble too much in this video. I'm trying to be as thorough, as unedited, and as real and transparent as humanly possible. So let me know if you like this real, transparent, just kind of unedited version of me in these videos. Type in transparent or let me know I like the transparent style of videos. Let me know in the comment section below that you dig it or not. And I'll make these more polished and fancy. And as always, if you got value, hit that subscribe button and that bell icon notification button. All right, till next time. Later, guys.